There's a silence that older men know too well. Not the silence of a quiet house, not the silence of an empty room. I'm talking about the silence in the bedroom, the kind that hums louder than any argument. When you roll over instead of reaching out, when you want to touch her but your body doesn't answer like it used to, you're not alone. I've sat across from men who built empires, raised families, survived wars, and still, they lower their eyes and whisper, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." And here's the truth. No one tells you. It's not just age. It's circulation. It's testosterone slipping away quietly. It's blood no longer reaching the parts of you that once stood for strength, desire, confidence. But what if I told you something else? Something no one's told you before. You could change this. Not with pills, not with shame, but with fruit. Real fruit. From nature, from the earth, from the world before pharmacies. I'm Dr. Simon. I've spent over 30 years helping men restore their energy, reclaim their vitality, and reconnect with the version of themselves they thought was lost. And today, I want to show you something that might quietly challenge everything you've assumed about aging. 10 fruits. That's it. 10 fruits that boost circulation. 10 fruits that rebuild your sexual energy. 10 fruits that help you feel like a man again. No side effects, no nonsense. So, if your mornings feel dull, if you've lost that fire when she walks into the room, keep watching. Don't scroll away. Because one of these fruits could be the key to unlocking not just better blood flow, but better moments between the sheets. So what's the first fruit I recommend to every man over 60 who walks into my office and says, "Doc, I still want to feel like myself again. Is it too late?" The answer is simple: pomegranate. This deep red fruit has been worshipped for centuries, not just for its taste, but for what it does inside a man's body. It's packed with polyphenols and antioxidants that ignite nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is the silent hero behind every strong, dependable flow of blood, especially where it matters most. Let me put it plainly. Without nitric oxide, your blood vessels tighten, your circulation weakens, and the parts of your body that once came alive with a glance or a touch, they stay cold, disconnected, silent. That's when doubt creeps in. When you start to question yourself, when you hesitate to reach for her hand in the dark. But I remember George, 72 years old, retired truck mechanic, 3 years into retirement, and already feeling like he had faded. He told me, "Doc, I've got love in my life, but I lost my edge." We ran his blood work. Testosterone? Low. Blood pressure? High. I looked him in the eye and said, "You're not broken. You're just running on empty. Start your mornings with half a glass of pomegranate juice. Just that." 3 weeks later, his wife sent me a message. It said, "Thank you. I don't know what you did, but my husband is back. The way he touches me, the way he looks at me. It's like 1,985 all over again." That's not a miracle. That's circulation. That's testosterone waking up. That's a man stepping back into his power. Pomegranate isn't just a fruit, it's a signal to your body that you're still in the game, still a man, still wanted. Now, if you're looking for something even juicier, something that floods your veins and gets the blood moving fast, you'll want to hear about the next fruit: watermelon. If pomegranate is the key, then watermelon is the floodgate. Because sometimes what a man needs isn't just better blood flow. He needs it fast. He needs it where it counts. And he needs it to respond when the moment calls. That's what watermelon does. Now, most people think of it as a summertime snack. But buried inside this sweet, juicy fruit is something powerful: citrulline, a natural compound that your body converts into arginine, which then boosts nitric oxide, which then relaxes blood vessels and sends blood exactly where you want it. It's like a pressure release valve. You don't feel it right away, but give it time, and you'll notice something strange. You'll wake up feeling fuller, heavier, more present in your own body. I had a patient, Miguel, 68, former high school soccer coach, fit guy, still played racquetball twice a week. But something had shifted. He told me, "Doc, I can still move. I can still lift. But when it comes to her, I feel disconnected. I put him on a simple plan. 2 cups of fresh watermelon first thing in the morning. That's it. By week 2, he looked different. Shoulders up, eyes brighter, and the grin? Let's just say it said everything. His wife later joked with me, "Whatever's in that watermelon, bottle it." Here's the truth. You don't need pills that come with a warning label. You need foods that work with your body, not against it. Watermelon is nature's way of saying, "I've still got you." If you've been waiting for a sign to reignite the fire, this fruit is it. But maybe you want more than fire. Maybe you want endurance, consistency, confidence that lasts past one good night. In that case, let's talk about berries. If watermelon gives you the spark, berries give you the stamina. Because sometimes what's missing isn't just desire, it's control, it's consistency. It's knowing that your body will show up not once but again and again. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. These aren't just pretty little fruits for smoothies. They're loaded with flavonoids, tiny plant compounds that do something massive. They protect and repair your blood vessels. You see, every time your blood flows to the places that matter, it travels through a delicate highway of arteries and capillaries. If those roads are inflamed or damaged, blood slows down, pressure builds, and you end up feeling sluggish, flat, or even numb. But flavonoids act like maintenance crews. They clear the debris, strengthen the walls, and make it easier for your heart to do its job. I had a patient, Lionel, 71, a jazz musician full of soul and rhythm, but lately he told me the rhythm wasn't showing up in bed. He said, "Doc, I'm there emotionally, but physically, it's like I'm playing the notes but there's no music." I told him to do one thing: a cup of mixed berries every night with dinner. No sugar, just the fruit. Within a month, his wife noticed the change before he did. He told me, "She kissed me at breakfast. That hadn't happened in years." That's the power of circulation that stays strong day after day. Berries don't scream for attention. They work quietly, but they work deep. And when you give your body that kind of consistent support, you don't just perform better, you become more confident. And that confidence? It's attractive. To her and to yourself. So if you've ever wished you had a little more fuel in the tank, not for a one-time thrill, but for the long game, then it's time to bring in the next fruit. The one that builds hormones as much as it builds blood. Avocado. Blood flow is half the story. The other half? Hormones. Because even if your circulation is strong, without the right hormones backing you up, you're firing blanks. You show up, but not fully. That's where avocado steps in. This creamy green fruit is packed with healthy fats, the kind your body uses as raw material to produce testosterone. And testosterone, my friend, is not just about libido. It's about motivation, clarity, and the fire that makes a man feel like a man. Now, I know what some guys say, but Doc, isn't avocado a millennial thing? Toast and all that? Sure, they can keep their trendy cafes. But we'll take the biology. Avocado is rich in monounsaturated fats, magnesium, zinc, and vitamin B6, all nutrients that support natural testosterone production. More testosterone means more desire, more stamina, more presence. Let me tell you about Victor, 69 years old, retired electrician, big hands, sharp wit. But when he walked into my office, he looked dim. He said, "I feel like I'm watching my life, not living it." His labs confirmed what I suspected: low testosterone. Not dangerously low, but enough to feel it. We didn't go straight to therapy. We went to the kitchen. 1 avocado a day, sliced over eggs, mashed into a salad, even straight with a spoon and a sprinkle of salt. 6 weeks later, he walked back in, head up, eyes sharper. And his wife? She waited in the car, smiling like she knew something I didn't. Victor shook my hand and said, "Doc, it's not just my body. My confidence is back. My rhythm is back." And yeah, she noticed. Avocado doesn't force change. It builds from the inside. It gives your body the tools to restore itself naturally. And when hormones and blood flow work together, you're not just showing up in the bedroom, you're leading. Now that we've covered hormones, let's go back to something basic, something sweet, something that keeps your pressure low and your energy high. Bananas. You can have testosterone, you can have desire, but if your blood pressure is too high, none of it gets where it needs to go. That's where bananas come in. This isn't just a snack for athletes or kids at soccer practice. Bananas are loaded with potassium, and potassium is your heart's best friend. Why? Because it helps relax blood vessels, flush out excess sodium, and bring your blood pressure back to where it should be. Lower blood pressure means better circulation, and better circulation means one thing. Your body responds when you need it most. I had a patient named Dean, 65 years old, used to be a construction foreman, still had the muscle, still had the fire. But he was frustrated. He told me, "Doc, I've got everything in place, but the connection, it's not there. I feel the urge, but my body doesn't follow through." We checked his vitals. His blood pressure was creeping too high, just enough to interfere. So I told him to make one simple change. One banana every morning. Before coffee, before the newspaper, just the banana. Within 10 days, he called me, said he was waking up different. His energy felt smoother, his body felt lighter, and his wife, she noticed. He said, "I didn't even try, but it was there, strong, like my body remembered something it had forgotten." Here's the thing most men don't realize. Bananas aren't flashy, but they're powerful. They support your cardiovascular system, balance your electrolytes, and prime your body for real intimacy. Not just physical response, but the kind that shows up in your eyes, in your posture, in the way you touch her. So if you've been feeling the pressure, in your chest, in your head, or in the silence between you and her, start with something simple. Now we've talked about hormone builders and pressure balancers. Let's shift to something bright, something citrus, something that keeps your blood vessels young and flexible. Let's talk about oranges. You can't talk about blood flow without talking about the health of your blood vessels. And if there's one fruit that keeps your arteries young, elastic, and ready to deliver, it's the humble orange. Most people think vitamin C is just for avoiding colds, but it does much more than that. Vitamin C plays a key role in producing collagen, the structural protein that keeps your blood vessels strong and flexible. The more flexible your arteries, the easier it is for blood to travel to all areas of your body, including the ones tied to intimacy. But that's not all. Oranges are rich in hesperidin, a natural flavonoid that improves endothelial function. That's the inner lining of your blood vessels. When that lining is smooth and healthy, blood flows better. You feel warmer, more responsive, more alive. I remember Paul, 73, a retired English teacher. His blood work wasn't terrible, but he told me something that stuck with me. He said, "Doc, I still want to connect with my wife, but sometimes I feel like my body gets in the way of my heart." That hit me, because that's how a lot of men feel. The desire is there. The love is real. But the body doesn't keep up. I told Paul to start with one large orange every morning. Nothing fancy, just peel and eat. Within a few weeks, he felt lighter, not just in his mood, but in the way his body moved. He told me he stopped feeling that coldness in his legs. He started sleeping deeper. And his wife? She said the warmth came back to their evenings, the spark, the presence. And it all started with a simple citrus fruit. Oranges don't just wake you up. They support your blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and create the internal environment for intimacy to thrive. So if you've been feeling a little distant, emotionally or physically, maybe it's time to let oranges help you reconnect. Now let's move from bright citrus to something deeper, darker, and surprisingly powerful. Let's talk about grapes. Not all fruits are sweet and soft. Some are bold, some are dark, some are built to fight. Red and black grapes belong to that category. These little powerhouses are loaded with a compound called resveratrol, and if that name sounds familiar, it should. Resveratrol has been studied for its ability to support heart health, lower inflammation, and yes, enhance blood flow. But here's what most men don't know. Resveratrol also helps boost the production of nitric oxide. That means stronger blood flow, healthier arteries, and a body that responds faster when things start to heat up. I had a patient, Alan, 70 years old, former firefighter, still tough as nails, still proud, but something was holding him back. He told me, "Doc, I can still carry groceries up the stairs. I can still split wood. But when it's time to be close to my wife, I feel like I'm losing ground." We ran his labs. His cardiovascular numbers were solid, but his circulation markers told a different story. I told him to snack on a handful of red or black grapes every afternoon. No added sugar, no dried fruit. Just fresh grapes. A month later, he came back and gave me the kind of handshake that says, "Thank you, but we don't need to talk about it." His wife sent me a thank you card. It said, "He's present again. He touches me with intention. It's like something unlocked in him." That's what grapes do. They don't just satisfy your sweet tooth. They activate the system. They support the blood vessels and encourage the very flow that fuels intimacy. And unlike wine, grapes give you all the benefits without the alcohol, which can actually suppress performance in the long run. So, if you want to sharpen the edge without numbing it, bring grapes into your day. They're nature's signal to your body that strength, stamina, and connection are still part of your story. Now, if grapes bring boldness, the next fruit brings intensity. Small, tangy, and loaded with power. Let's talk about kiwi. Don't let the size fool you. Kiwi may be small, but what it delivers for men over 60 is anything but. Inside that fuzzy green shell is a sharp punch of vitamin C, vitamin E, potassium, and a blend of antioxidants that light a fire right where your body needs it most. And more importantly, kiwi improves endothelial function, the same internal lining in your blood vessels that determines how well blood flows during moments of connection. Now I remember Sam, 66, a retired dentist from Oregon, quiet guy, always composed. But one day he sat across from me and said, "Doc, I'm not trying to impress anyone. I just want to feel ready again. You know what I mean?" And I did. Because readiness is what men don't talk about, but we all feel when it's missing. I asked him what his breakfast looked like. He said, "Toast, coffee, sometimes nothing." I nodded. We made a small change. One kiwi. Every morning. Not blended, not juiced, just peeled and eaten whole. 3 weeks later, Sam walked in taller. Literally. His posture had changed. He said he'd started waking up with that old familiar weight, that sense of readiness he hadn't felt in years. His wife didn't say anything at first. She just started holding his hand more. That's the kind of change kiwi can make. It doesn't just boost blood flow, it boosts confidence. That deep inner knowing that your body is tuned and responsive again. Kiwi also supports better sleep, reduces inflammation, and helps regulate blood pressure, all pieces of the puzzle when it comes to restoring intimacy. And unlike bigger fruits that take time and prep, kiwi is simple, portable, powerful. You can eat it in your car, at your desk, right after a workout. No excuses. If you've ever felt like you're showing up at 80% and want to get back to 100, kiwi is a smart place to start. But now, let's shift from tart to crisp, from green to red, from subtle support to full defense. Let's talk about apples. If kiwi wakes up your circulation, apples help keep the pipes clean. They're not just a snack for kids or a symbol in fairy tales. Apples are one of the most underrated tools for male health after 60. Why? Because they're rich in soluble fiber, especially pectin, which helps lower bad cholesterol. And when your cholesterol drops, your blood vessels open up. Cleaner arteries mean stronger flow, not just to your brain and heart, but to the parts of your body that make intimacy possible. I remember Harold, 75, a retired math teacher, precise, methodical, very in control of his life. But when he came to me, he wasn't talking numbers. He said, "Doc, my labs look decent, but I don't feel the same. I'm slower to respond, less alive." His cholesterol was elevated, just enough to matter. I told him, 1 apple a day. Eat the skin. Go organic if you can. He raised an eyebrow but nodded. A month later, he was back with the kind of energy you don't fake. He had dropped a few pounds, but more importantly, he told me, something shifted. I feel more blood in my legs, more warmth. And in bed, I feel like I'm catching up to my younger self. That's what apples do. They don't hit hard like pomegranate or watermelon. They work steadily. They clean, support, and protect. They reduce oxidative stress, stabilize blood sugar, and improve your body's overall ability to deliver oxygen-rich blood to your muscles and your manhood. Plus, they're easy. Slice one up after lunch. Keep one at your desk. Toss one in the car. No prep, no hassle. Intimacy isn't built on extremes. It's built on consistency. The little daily choices that build trust between you and your body. And apples are a daily choice worth making. Now that we've cleared the pathways and strengthened your core, it's time for one last fruit. One that works behind the scenes, reducing inflammation and thinning the blood just enough to keep things moving with ease. Let's finish strong. Let's talk about pineapple. Pineapple isn't just sweet, it's sharp. It cuts through buildup, breaks down what doesn't belong, and makes room for better flow, better energy, and better connection. What makes pineapple different is a powerful enzyme called bromelain. Bromelain helps reduce inflammation, especially in your blood vessels. It also supports better digestion and natural blood thinning, which means your circulation improves without the heaviness, without the sluggishness, and without the pressure spikes that hold you back. I had a patient, Raymond, 69, former airline pilot, confident, well-spoken, but underneath it all, he felt stuck. He told me, "Doc, I'm eating right, exercising, but when it comes to intimacy, something's blocking the signal." We looked deeper. His blood was thick. His inflammation markers were high. I told him, add pineapple. Fresh, not canned. A cup every evening after dinner. He was skeptical but committed. 3 weeks later, he came back with that familiar look, the one I've seen when a man reconnects with himself. He said, "Doc, it's smoother now. My digestion, my energy, and yeah, she's smiling more too." His wife later emailed me just 3 words. He's back again. That's what pineapple does. It's not just about circulation, it's about clearing the inflammation that was standing in your way. It helps your blood move, your hormones settle, and your mind relax. It reminds your body that intimacy doesn't have to be effort. It can be fluid, natural, enjoyable. And here's a bonus most men don't know. Pineapple can improve the way your body smells and tastes. It's true. That alone has saved a few relationships. Trust me. So, if you're looking for a fruit that clears the way, lifts the fog, and finishes the job, this is it. Pineapple is nature's final push, the one that tells your body, let's make tonight count. Now that you've met all 10 fruits, you might be wondering how to bring them all together. Let me show you how men are using these fruits daily to rebuild connection, intimacy, and strength, without prescriptions, without side effects, and without feeling like their best years are behind them. I've shared the science, I've walked you through the fruits. But what really matters is how these choices translate into real results. Because behind every fruit on this list is a man who thought his best days were gone until something changed. Like Henry, 74, a retired steelworker from Ohio. He came to me after trying medications that left him feeling more numb than alive. He said, "Doc, I want to feel something again, not just physically, emotionally." I gave him a plan built around 5 of these fruits: pomegranate, watermelon, kiwi, apple, and pineapple. Within 4 weeks, his posture changed. His voice carried more weight, and his wife told me privately, "He holds me again, like he means it." Then there's Thomas, 66, a school bus driver from North Carolina. Shy, soft-spoken, the kind of man who puts everyone else first. He hadn't been intimate with his wife in over a year, not because he didn't want to, but because he was afraid to try and fail again. We built a simple routine: Fresh grapes in the afternoon, banana in the morning, avocado in the evening. Just fruit. Nothing else. And one night he told me something clicked. We didn't plan it, he said. It just happened. Naturally. Like we used to. The smile on his face said more than any chart ever could. These aren't isolated stories. This is what happens when you stop fighting your body and start feeding it. When you give your system the fuel it was meant to run on. When blood flows where it should, hormones settle into balance, and intimacy returns not as a chore or an obligation, but as a joy. You don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to be perfect. Just consistent. Choose one fruit today. Add a second tomorrow. Watch what happens in a week, then a month, then a lifetime. Because age doesn't end intimacy, but giving up on yourself does. And you're not done yet. Not even close. You've just discovered 10 fruits. 10 simple foods that don't just fill your stomach, but awaken something deeper, something older, something you thought might be gone. The truth is, your body has not betrayed you. It's been waiting for you, waiting for the right fuel, the right rhythm, the right chance to reset. And now, you know where to begin. You don't need to chase another miracle pill. You don't need to suffer in silence, pretending it's just part of getting older. Because getting older doesn't mean losing your strength, your desire, or your intimacy. Not unless you let it. What these fruits offer isn't magic. It's biology. It's circulation. It's hormonal balance. It's restoring what's been quietly fading day by day, year by year. And it all begins with your next grocery list. Start with one fruit. Build a habit. Bring it into your morning, then into your evening, then into your connection. You'll be surprised what changes, not just physically, but emotionally. The way she looks at you, the way you carry yourself, the way your body says, I'm back. I've seen it happen. I've lived it alongside my patients. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who thought the best parts of life were behind them until they tasted something different. Not just fruit, but freedom. Freedom from shame. Freedom from silence. Freedom from that quiet ache that says, I miss feeling like myself. You have the tools now. And if you've watched this far, I know one thing. You're not here by accident. You're here because part of you knows it's time. Time to reclaim your blood flow, your energy, your intimacy, and your identity as a man. I'm Dr. Simon. I've spent over 30 years helping men just like you rediscover the life they thought they lost. And if this message stirred something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, with your partner, with someone who needs hope. Because the fire never truly goes out. Sometimes it just needs the right fuel.